Welcome to my channel. In this first episode I will be pointing out how without your brain/mind you cannot conceive of anything. You can't even conjure up a god or anything else without first thinking about it. God means thought and Lord means the law of thought. It also means imagination. So if you can try to put something before God or the Lord who are one and the same without using your mind? The Bible is a metaphor and I really can't believe how many people are still taking it literally. Additionally, I'd like to shout out Reverend Ike and Neville Goddard who also have explained this beautiful metaphor so eloquently along with many others. Let's begin with the book of Genesis. So Genesis means source or origin story. It also has to do with your genes. There may be times when it's hard to follow because when you take metaphors literally you sometimes become a literal idiot. It's okay though, been there, done that. Let's recap. Again, God means thought/the law of thought/imagination, so I will be replacing the name God with law of thought and pray the story begins to make sense to you. I also will be breaking it down as much as I can and also skipping some verses as I'm not here to spoon feed you because you need to practice using your own discernment. Let's begin. Genesis 1:1 In the beginning the law of thought created the heavens, or consciousness, and the earth or subconscious. 2 Now consciousness was formless and empty, meaning it was devoid of all beliefs. Darkness was over the surface of the deep. Consciousness sits in the darkness of your skull, and the spirit of the law of thought was hovering over the waters. All forms of consciousness represent water. 3 The law of thought. Thought, let there be light, and there was light. Light means the understanding principle in the mind. 4 The law of thought saw that light was good, and separated the light from the darkness. Darkness means absence of truth in consciousness. 6 Then the law of thought said with the vibration of thought, let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water. 7 So the law of thought created the vault, meeting place between spiritual and physical, and separated the water under the vault from the water above it. And so it was. The water above the vault represents psychological truth or cleansing that lives in the divine conscious mind of the law of thought, and the water under the vault represents the lies we tell ourselves that lives in the subconscious mind of the law of thought. Random side note, I'm reading from a version that has swapped out firmament and uses vault instead. But the firmament is also about your mind in both the literal and metaphorical sense. Let's digress. 9 The law of thought called the vault the sky. The sky is where the law of thought keeps perfect divine thought, records, recollections of everyone and everything. The next few verses go over the creation story of the universe. So again, mind had to be created first or not even the law of thought would know what they are or were experiencing. So the water under the sky, yes, represents the ocean, and yes, even still the subconscious mind of the law of thought, they are one and the same. The law of thought just kept thinking, and because it remained dedicated to its dream, yes, everything it ever thought of came to be. The universe/earth had to be made first because what do you think birthed all of life? By definition alone, nothing doesn't exist. Now let's get into verse 26. Then the law of thought, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all creatures that move along the ground. 27 So the law of thought created mankind in his own image, in the image of the law of thought they created them, male and female they created them. 28 The law of thought blessed them, and then thought unto and of them be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. 29 Then the law of thought, we give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and every fruit that has seed in it. They will be yours for food. 30 And to all the beasts in the earth and the birds in the sky and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, we give every green plant for food. And so it was, and just let it be that. 31 The law of thought saw all that they had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning the 6th day. So again, at this point everything was and still is, by the way, in the imagination of source God, law of thought. Anytime it is mentioned, God said in this very first chapter, well, 1, God could only be talking to itself, and 2, This talking is just the law of thought, thinking thoughts. There is nothing less or more going on then or going on even now. You, me, I, them, and we are all just thoughts of the ultimate divine consciousness. Man had to first be formed as a thought in the mind of the law of thought or God or whatever you want to call it in order for there to ever be man. And it is completely illogical for us to exist outside of this consciousness, and for the consciousness to exist outside of us. It just cannot be. The Bible is the creation story of the law of thought or God imagining themselves as human beings. Please, chosen ones, stop being led astray. There is still so much biblical cap going on, it's ridiculous. The Old Testament represents God in their sleeping or subconscious state. So we will be going over the most important stuff in the Old Testament before making our way into the New Testament. If this resonates with you, I thank you for listening. It's my highest choice to those watching and sometimes joining me on the path I walk. You remember, you are God dreaming that you are a human being, and may you dream the dream you want to dream for you and remain dedicated, devoted, and committed to that beautiful, glorious dream in these trying times. Forever and always, it's all for the glory of God.